Good evening, everybody. It's Jared Johnson back here for another review on the Sunday night market and pretty much what is going on here. So, first things first, I've got to time myself to make sure I don't go over so we don't make the video too terribly long. So, let's run through everything. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and I hope you're ready for some serious trading. There are some very oh so very important things going on in the market right now. There's lots of reports coming out. We have lots of earnings reports. We have GDP reports, which are really giving us an idea of the contraction or expansion of the overall markets here, the global economies, how countries are doing. Lots of reports are out. Lots of things are happening. But I'll tell you one thing that has really kind of keyed me off to my number one opinion here that I'm about to share with you guys, and that is the US dollar is gonna take a big dump. Unfortunately, our beloved dollar, I think, is heading majorly south on us, which means we're going to see a lot of pairs probably head north. Now, I don't want to rush anything, and I don't want to get any speculations out there too terribly quick. But what we need to potentially be ready for this week is possible breakouts of the summer trend on several of these currency pairs, mostly dollar pairs. And I think the breakout is happening upward. Dollar weakness. Sorry, dollar lovers, but that's just what looks like is in the works. One thing that really kind of keyed this off to me is what is happening in the equities markets. Earnings are going all over the place. All kinds of things are happening. But this little number right here just kind of spoke to me. 9,000. Basically, the 9,100 area here is where the Dow is. Remember a couple of weeks back we talked about the Dow needing to break about the 9,000 mark, 8,900, 9,000 mark. Well, it's broke it, and it's just barely above it. Now we see that the S&P is still below the 1,000 mark, which is a key level, and gold is still below the 1,000 mark, which is also a key level. And I think it's going to be a little tough to get gold above that 1,000 mark. S&P, however, is making good progress in that direction, but the Dow has broken it. It's gone, it's going, and that is kind of the first key thing that I'm looking at to tell me that the US dollar might be heading slightly south on us. Now, the currency pairs are pretty well in agreement with me. We see some overbought stochastics on a bunch of these pairs, but for the most part, we see things heading up. The U.S. dollar is, I think it's adiosing on us a little bit. Here's what we see happening on the euro dollar here. Day chart. Look at this big uptrend we had. We saw some pretty choppy. Remember, these represent 1 month here on the day chart. We saw some pretty choppiness for about 2 months there, but basically for the entire month here, we have seen this pair just crawling up this trend line right here. It started heading down until just about a week ago. It broke this new recent downtrend here before bouncing off the bottom, and it's been crawling up this trend line right here, just crawling up it, which is very kind of in line with what's happening with the markets, US dollar related. And so I think that this trend line, which looks pretty solid on our 4-hour chart as well, may just continue to hold. Remember that our equities markets, the Dow and the S&P and so many markets just went through the floor. Everything just headed south in such a big way over the last several months, and now things have really been making a comeback. We've seen big turnarounds, big retracements, big, just overall comebacks in the U.S. markets. And I think that because of the rallying that we're seeing in the market, we are going to start to see some very serious, very major comebacks on these equity markets, which means people are going to shift their money into equities and stocks and everything they can get their hands on, and they're pulling their money out of the treasuries, and the risk appetite is getting it's getting strong. I think it's getting pretty strong, and we see that being very strongly reflected on the U.S. dollar. Not necessarily in a euro trade just yet, but I think that if we can get it above this pair, up above our level here of our 43.30 area, which it's not so far away from, we might see some good runs. Let me tell you what I am in already. I'm in the pound dollar. This pair was basically calling my name. We saw a nice little crossover here on the 1-hour chart happen just recently. I'm already in the pair for a buy. One thing that really keyed it off to me is this nice little trend line we have that's about 4 months long here. The pair is just nicely crawling up it, came right back down and bounced. And this is kind of already in line anyways with my dollar bearishness that I am really focusing on right now. And I think that this pair is going to continue upward. We have a very solid trend line there. Indicators are telling us northward movement on the 4-hour chart, and the 1-hour chart is just giving us that crossover. This pair is money. I'm probably headed for the R1 on the weekly pivots. Hopefully, I think we should be able to pull a good 100 pips out of this trade, give or take. So I will be ready for this guy. I'm already in it. I'm just kind of watching for that movement. It's given us a little bit of retracement, but I think this pair is very likely going to easily continue on upward. A couple of things to look at on the Euro-Yen pairs as well. Watch for the break of this Friday high right here. Friday high is just getting ready to get broken, and we know about those Friday night trades. It's already tested that level at about 135.18. So hopefully a break of that 135.18, 135.20 will give us some considerable upward movement. Looking at our day chart here, we see that it had this new trend that was almost 2 months long that has recently just been broken towards the end of last week. It broke that trend, and it looks like it wants to head back upward here. We know that the yen pairs are in pretty big channels, pretty long-term channels, and these channels can only last for so long. This one goes all the way back to March, and it's just been hopping around in this big, 1,200 pip channel, 1,100 pip channel for almost 5 months now, and so I am just really starting to get on the edge of my seat and watch for breakouts on these major pairs. Everything's kind of doing the same thing. Aussie yen as well broke this recent downtrend here just a few days back, and it looks like it's heading upward. So watch for it's already broken that Friday high, and here's that weekly high, which it's approaching right now. Keep an eye on this. There's some long entries on this one. Aussie dollar, I think, is also giving us a fairly good little opportunity. Same thing, about a week ago, broke the recent downtrend, and it's just kind of channeling. This Aussie dollar is just kind of hanging out, not doing much. A couple of us took a sell entry back here at the 8,200, and it dropped very nicely. It dropped a full 100 pips, and that was a great movement for the Aussie dollar. But it's right back up, and I think it's going to continue back up. There is a little bit of negative news on the Australian dollar with some I just read something and I can't remember, but there was some stocks are suffering a little bit, as well as the whole commodity situation we have over there, some mining contracts going south and some China issues in Australia, so that can kind of affect things. But so far, since it's sitting up against the US dollar, looks like it's probably going to be headed north on us as well. Pound yen, not a pair that I recommend many people trade, but something that needs to be watched for. Everything has broken its month and a half or so downtrend that everything's been in, all the yen pairs as well, and this one's just sitting right there. The pound yen is such a big mover that sometimes it's a little bit lagging on some of these movements here, so we got to watch this guy. I think a break of this area right here, kind of this 156.50, probably will give us some fairly good upward movement, so just kind of keep an eye on that. And as far as these other pairs go, there's lots of things happening. Dollar yen, which is one that I do not like to trade, but sometimes things happen. We have a very nice little, slightly over 40 pip channel from Friday, and it is just sitting inside of those. Now it's going to be waiting on some US news and some Japanese news as well. Japan is in a bit of a tough situation right now. They've seen some pretty major contractions on their market from the GDP. The Bank of Japan believes growth will continue, but it's a little sketchy at this point. And put up against the US dollar, it's kind of a flip of the coin. So what I'm saying here is just watch these levels, 9,500 and about 9,450, and just see what happens, and I think we might see a very nice breakout here. But so far, I think the pound dollar is going to be the winner of the day. There's an entry opportunity down here. It's retracing down. It's about the 164.80 right now. I'm already in it from just a little bit below down here in the 50s. But I think this pair is going to continue upward and continue upward nicely. So basically, the point that I want everybody to remember is that equities markets are rallying, and I think that we may see a continuation of that happening this week, and we could see breakouts of the summer channel. Summer trading could be coming to a little bit of a screeching halt this week, which would be amazing. I don't want to cry wolf, but just watch those levels. They could be broken this week, so be very careful on bounce trades and try to identify trend and go with trend. Okay, guys, I think I'm out of time. We'll see you on the chat room. Good luck, everyone.